With its generous stack height and bouncy foam, the Triumph 20 was a pleasure to run in. But how has it held up over time? It's time to talk about the Triumph 20 after 100 miles. Yo, what's going on everybody? My name is Kofuzi. I'm a non-elite runner who reviews shoes here on YouTube. And today I want to talk to you guys about the Saucony Triumph 20. But before I give you my thoughts on these shoes, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that I purchased myself. No one sent them to me. No one's paying me to make this video or to use the shoe, and no one's going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about the Saucony Triumph 20. First, for this long-term review, I'm going to go over how I've been using the shoe, and then I'm talk about how it's actually held up, talk about the wear and tear. First, how I've been using it. It's actually changed a little bit. It's a very tall shoe with 37 millimeters of stack height in the heel. And I started out using it as a max cushion shoe because we've got the Power Run Plus in the shoe, which is a foam that's very much like Boost if you're familiar with that material from Adidas. But Saucony's take on it is a little bit lighter and a little bit springier. So I've been using it more for everyday runs rather than using it as kind of like a max cushion super relaxed shoe. Because while it is a little bit on the heavy side at 9.7 ounces or 274 grams, the springiness of the Power Run Plus that they use in the shoe and a 10 millimeter drop that they put in the shoe also makes it so that way the shoe can move a little bit easier than a traditional max cushion kind of shoe tends to move. And I feel like when you pair it with an upper that has been making changes over the last few years to be more and more streamlined, I feel like this really fits as a daily trainer that's well cushioned but also still springy. Now I've been using it for basically just easy runs when I'm getting out there and get that kind of bulk of my weekly mileage, but the shoe also can pick up the pace a little bit if you need to use it for strides. That springiness of the Power Run Plus makes it really pleasant to pick up the pace for those shorter bursts. I'm not sure that I'd really want to take it for very long workouts because even though it is kind of like in an acceptable range for daily trainers, I do feel like it's a little bit heavy as far as workout shoes might go. But if that's something that you needed to do in the shoe, maybe it's one shoe that you're taking for say like a vacation weekend or a travel weekend, it's something that can definitely be used in those situations. It's also really comfortable to just kind of wear around on a daily basis. Now, in terms of how it's been holding up over the last 100 miles, I feel like this is one of the more durable Triumphs that I've seen in a really long time. And it's not to say that prior versions weren't durable, I just feel like this one just holding up a lot better. If I'm looking at the tread on the outsole, this rubber that's down here, it's all looking really fresh. If I get very, very close, I can see that some of like the etchings that are on the face of that outsole are starting to wear away just a little bit. But even in my highest wear areas, which is typically on the outside of this heel and right here in the pads of the foot, there is still a lot of rubber coverage left. The foam feels like it's absolutely fresh, and there's no way that I'd really be able to tell just by putting the shoe on that this is a shoe that had 100 miles on it. And I'm not saying that 100 miles is the end lifespan of a shoe. I think there's plenty of longevity left in it, but typically I can tell the difference between a brand new fresh out of the box shoe and a 100 mile shoe. And this is feeling more like a brand new shoe than it feels like a shoe that's at the 100 mile mark. So I feel like it's holding up really well. The upper is also still feeling really great, stretchy in the areas where I want it to be stretchy and also supportive in the areas where I want it to be supportive, and nothing's pinching or hurting, and all the padding, the materials that are in here are holding up really well. I think they've done a really great job of nailing the upper on this shoe, which I tend to find that Saucony usually gets really, really right. So let's get to some of the summary points on this shoe. Who is the Saucony Triumph 24? I think it's best for a runner who is looking for a daily trainer that might just have a little bit more cushion, a little bit more stack height underfoot. Especially for my bigger, taller friends, I really feel like you guys are going to especially enjoy this one. Now, let's talk about some pairing options with the shoe. If you got this shoe as your daily trainer, you could probably also use it for a lot of your recovery days and very easy days. So for pairing options, I'm gonna look at some race shoes. And the first one that comes to mind stays within the Saucony family, and that's gonna be the Endorphin Elite, because this is a daily trainer with just a little bit more stack height, and this is a racing shoe with just a little bit more of all that racing goodness. It's got Power Run HG, which is Saucony's latest and greatest racing foam, and it's just a little bit taller, a little bit more aggressive, and I really have been enjoying doing long runs and workouts in that shoe. Now, if you want to go outside of Saucony, I think that another shoe that could line up really well is going to be Adios Pro 3. The foam on this is a little bit on the stiffer side, so you got to really give it a little bit more to get more out of it. But I also feel like someone that's enjoying the taller and springier nature of the Triumph 20 is going to appreciate what the Adios Pro 3 has to offer. Now let's take a look at the buying guide for this shoe. This shoe initially started out at $160 and it's still there right now, which is a little bit surprising. I've already seen some testers out there getting some pairs of the next year's, the 21. And so hopefully this shoe will start going on sale. I'd love to see it at like 140, 130, maybe if we can even get to 120. I feel like that's an easy pickup for early summer of 2023. But let's take a look at some of the other shoes in the market to kind of see where that 160 stacks up. I think the competition that the Triumph 20 probably has in its sights is something that's more like the Glycerin 20 from Brooks, or maybe the Adidas Ultra Boost Light. Now, the Ultra Boost Light is $190 and the Glycerin is $160, but I'm not a huge fan of either of those two shoes. And I think there are two other options that are better kind of competitors that I think you should be taking a look at. One is going to be the Fresh Foam More version 4. Now, this is a more of a traditional max cushion shoe, and in fact it was my favorite max cushion shoe of 2022. It's got a bunch of stack height here, and it's got New Balance's Fresh Foam X Foam, which is both cushioned and also springy, a lot like the Power Run Plus that's in the Saucony Triumph 20. But the way that the More 4 is set up, it's a little bit more kind of max cushion and a little bit more relaxed than the Triumph 20. So I'd use these slightly differently, although depending on how you want to use your Triumph 20, this might be a direct competitor. And this comes in at $150, so you're saving 10 bucks by going the More version 4. But there's another shoe, but it happens to also be from New Balance, that I think probably stacks up the best of all the other shoes on the market right now, and that's the New Balance 1080 version 12. I feel like both of these shoes are kind of in that in-between category where they're not quite max cushion shoes and they're not quite daily trainers. They're more in that like cushioned daily trainer space, or what I think the running industry used to call like the premium daily trainer. That's what the 1080 version 12 is, and that's what the Saucony Triumph 20 are. I feel like these two shoes are very close analogs in terms of their ability to do easy runs, long runs, recovery days, and also can handle quick bursts of pace changes, like if you're doing strides in your workout. Now, the 1080 version 12 is also currently at $160. I'd love to see that one go on a discount soon too, because it has been out for a little while. But right now, as far as places that I'd be comfortable buying stuff from on the internet, both of these shoes are at $160. So it looks like that's what the market price is. And I feel like both of these shoes are really fun options for those summer miles. So those are my thoughts on the Triumph 20 after 100 miles. Let me know in the comments if you have other questions, or better yet, stop by the live stream that I do Monday through Friday over on the Kofuzi Run Club channel. I'd love to see you guys in the chat. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?